it should just show the desktop like this. Yeah.
Yeah, the virtual camera one, you can plug it into Zoom, I think.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see what it's like. I think we're live now.
Excellent connection. Does this mean we're just on straight away?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
this
pretty
is
much.
okay. Now we're live, yeah. Because I was telling you, hello everyone who aren't here yet. But last time I did a live, I didn't realise I'd gone live, and I sat there for like 10 minutes in silence, kind of fiddling around on my computer, setting everything up.
I I had it where I thought it'd gone live and I hadn't, and I was just like making music, and someone said in the chat, "You're gonna go live at some point."
And
Because
you're like, I'm on
you
it.
can have it poised to go live without pressing the go live button, and the chat will start and everything, so people can type in the chat and whatnot. But
Oh yeah, I can see someone's joined now.
yo, I'm gonna get it up as
Nice.
well so
Oh,
we can
Alex
see
is
who's on.
too quiet. Apparently, your mic, and that's because it's coming through.
Test one, test
Oh,
one,
I can turn you up. I can turn you up like, but it
test
will
two,
turn the
test one.
music up as well.
Okay, that's all right.
I can show. I can show everyone
Can you hear me now, people?
what I'm doing. Um,
I can
yeah.
see us. We're looking good.
Can you? I guess if I turn this up and maybe turn the music down, then you'll
Test
come in
one.
louder.
Hello.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, I
bit
can see
closer,
it.
isn't it? On the levels
How's
now.
that, people?
I think so. I can actually just turn my mixer up, which would make you
Hey, go lab. Hey, new type.
maybe louder.
Test one.
Okay, here we go. I don't think he's coming through
How
his
is that,
mic.
people?
So are they not able to hear you potentially?
I'm still super quiet, apparently. So
Still
I can
super
see on
quiet.
that. You can boost the Tascam in there, yeah.
Yeah, but you can see the levels are like almost the same as my levels, but I wonder why it's not coming through that well. There was
Maybe
always going to be some problems with this.
you
Oh,
might need to give
it's
us a
in
moment for the technicals.
yeah, advanced audio properties. Here we go. I don't need all of these channels. These can just come off. I've got yeah. So that
So
should.
yeah, you could boost that Tascam output on the
Oh, that's
just
panning,
on.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Or can I just go
Test
like?
one, test two,
Let's give
test
you 5
one.
dB up there. That's
Hello.
max.
How's
Sounds good
that? Better?
to sounds good to me. Okay, how are we doing now, everyone? Have we? I feel like the levels are looking better.
Hey, Michael.
Hello, Michael. Hello, new type. Future World Machines. Yeah, I can recognise. We've got some of your tracks coming up in this live stream today. Lots better. Okay, perfect. Nice. Um, so
How
we
you doing,
haven't.
George?
Yes, hello, Alex. We haven't really discussed how we're going to do this, but I probably the appropriate thing to do would be to go track for track, maybe.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, We'll start with one of your patrons. Go to one of mine. We
Yeah,
go back and forth.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it.
And
Um,
is it worth? Well, we're just going to kind of go what worked, what didn't, what we might improve. That kind of feedback structure.
yeah, what I actually might do is because what I usually do when I do feedback people and on my own tracks is kind of take notes as I listen and
Yeah,
go from there. I might have them off screen, um, but
cool.
I think that's usually good practice. And then it's one of the things that helps me a lot, or has done working on projects, is to be a bit more critical of your own work. Is just to take notes in that way.
Yeah, as you're listening back to the music.
Yeah, it's almost always the first thing you want to do in the day, or the first time you hear that song for a while. Sit and make notes on it when you have sort of the best perspective
Hmm.
to comment on it. And it stops you sometimes when you just start a project and keep working on it. Sometimes that's exactly what you want to do because you want to be really creative and just let everything go. And other times, especially if you've been struggling a little bit, it's good to have like some steps to follow.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like it's exactly what I do. I listen back, I make notes after I've listened as well. So I'm kind of like not just looking for problems, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like the overarching what I've remembered about hearing it. That's kind of how I do it. But yeah, always follow notes, always make feedback notes for myself.
Yeah, you've got a really good system of pushing projects each stage of. I know you use that program to kind of from
Trello.
like draft, yeah, all the way up to kind of finished projects and mixing and mastering. Which I would recommend. I don't do it, but it's one of those things I don't do. What I see is very valuable, but it's I probably should start doing something more like that.
It's good if you're working on a lot of music. And one thing I've thought about recently, because I haven't made tunes for a while, is that um, is it just an elaborate sabotage mechanism to stop me from focusing in on one tune? Do you know what I mean? Like, am I just like, I think sometimes I lose interest so quickly with music, and having this, maybe sometimes you really, you've spoken about it before, like persistence with tracks, and like when you're working on too many things, it can you can dilute the process sometimes. I don't know. It
Yeah,
changes really. Do you know what I mean? How
it's
you work
it's
on
the
music.
hardest thing. I'm sure all from teaching people and struggling myself and just listening to everyone online. Finishing music is the hardest thing about making music. It's not the
Yeah,
first hour or the kind of creative part of the song. It's the last 25% or 50% that gets harder and harder.
yeah, yeah,
So more recently, I've been trying to do more of that and kind of finish the songs, even if they're not going to be an amazing track, just to get better at the whole process.
yeah, yeah.
But everyone has their strategies that they kind of follow to meander through this path. So you just got to do whatever you think's good for you, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so true. It's like I think the only way to figure it out is to actually do it for yourself.
Yeah,
And like with all of music, it's a bit of a lonely journey sometimes. We're all in it together, but we're all separate at the same time, really, as
yeah,
as creatives.
yeah, for sure. I'd say most people produce solo as well, even though there's some quite very successful duos, and people obviously find partners to make it. 90% of us make music by ourselves in our bedrooms at
Yeah,
home.
yeah, yeah. It's like one area of my life where I have complete control.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
Is in my music. I can create the world that I want there. I think that's why I like doing it on my own sometimes. Why I love making music with a computer, because it's just my like megalomaniacal empire.
Yeah, that you're like slowly building brick by brick, isn't it? You build it up.
Yeah.
Oh, we've had lots of people chatting in the comments that haven't been.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
everyone's just sort
talking.
of saying hi to each other.
Good to see so many people on, I
Yeah,
guess.
I tend to mix as I go more or less. Then I tend to have the final mix, hand the final mix off to someone who doesn't have any emotional attachment to the project. There, that's a really good way of doing it. To get someone else's eyes on it.
Yeah, if you've got that kind of relationship with someone, even like I think one of the biggest things is having like a bit of a feedback circle. So
Mm,
even something like this, doing something like this, just like getting your music off your computer and out into the world somehow is, and that could be playing it with other people in a room together, or submitting it to something like this, or anyone else who kind of listens to tunes and gives feedback, your friends, whatever. Having that feedback circle is like the first step to feeling comfortable with letting go of your music, I think. And then you realize it's probably finished anyway when you play it to people. Don't know if you
yeah,
found that, George.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And you get to kind of weigh your songs up against other people who are at similar levels, or you can kind of see everyone's at a different progress in their
Yeah,
music
yeah,
journey. Uh,
yeah.
and so it's always really valuable. And the discords are good as well. Places like Dogs on Acid maybe, but I know you've got a Discord and I've got one. There's
Uh,
Mad Labs. I think people are quite good at giving feedback on those, just little comments and stuff.
yeah,
Um,
just a little bit to push you on and be like, oh, actually, it isn't complete trash. You know, I know some people don't think like that as well. I think I can be quite self-deprecating or quite a perfectionist.
yeah,
Which isn't a good thing, really. But
is
yeah,
probably the enemy of being creative at times is
yeah,
trying to perfect things too much.
Yeah, for real. So true. Yeah. But like somehow I do manage to finish stuff and like everyone does. So do you. You know, we
Yeah.
all manage to like I think like having a if you can get having a release or like having a deadline, an external deadline is a great way to get stuff done, you know.
Yeah, because you
Um
can just force yourself to make decisions sometimes that you're I don't know what it is. If you have a deadline, you don't focus on the small insignificant kick drums or the weird
mhm.
kind of transients or whatever it is that's not really that important. Although there is actually a really good program that do you see that Shaperbox new plugin that's the for transient layering,
I don't
Snapback or
know.
something like that? It's called Snapback.
Maybe. I was looking at
Slapback, maybe
Shaper Box.
Slapback. We've gone on a bit of a
Flatback.
tangent here, but we're just warming
That's
up
all
for the
right.
session. I saw it and I thought because um, layering is sometimes such a nightmare,
Yeah.
it
You're
kind of seems to make the process a bit easier. Snap,
you're
maybe it's
talking about layering drums and stuff like that, or making your drums sound like better. Is that?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
the reason you would layer your drums is to generally change the timbre, make them more interesting. Sometimes there might be a really good sounding drum, but everyone's used that amen snare, so you want to layer it with something metallic to make it unique.
Nice.
So,
This looks good. Yeah.
but this seems to is it basically you get this like whip. Before the sound, you can add all these presets, and then you can also layer stuff under the transient.
Mad. That looks great. I mean, do you know when I used to when I was in a band and we recorded with one engineer who he would always layer the drums with like, and I think he used like a Stephen Slate program that like remodels the drums, you
Interesting.
know, very much like this. So you could like layer really nicely recorded drums on top of the drummer playing,
Yeah,
you know, and it made for a huge sound. And I was always like, how did he get the drums to sound so good? And it was often just like doing stuff like layering them with things that were samples essentially. So, and it sounded amazing.
yeah, because you
That looks
you
good.
you have like you can either go the processing route and try and boost the frequencies in your existing kick drum or change it with
Hmm.
compression or things like that, or you can go and layer. And sometimes layering, you just have to find the right sample and you don't really have to do anything to it, and then you get an amazing result.
Yeah,
But it's a little bit of a dark art, I think.
it's hit and miss.
Yeah, it
Like, and
is.
it all depends on what the sample is doing. It's like then, yeah, and like if you're trying to boost breaks too much, sometimes it just doesn't work. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
there just
yeah.
isn't the information there. There isn't the and it's at the wrong frequency as well with what you got going on in the rest of the tune and stuff like that, you know. And this is where and doing all of this stops you just like putting the tune out and you lose interest with it, you know,
Yeah,
because
because
of stuff like this.
yeah, it's exactly that. Because you spend your whole session trying to figure out whether or not the layering is right, and you get so stuck in the mud. Um,
Yeah,
yes,
man.
yeah. There's so many things in music to kind of catch you up, catch you out on the process of starting a track to finishing it. That's probably what is so different. There's so many decisions to make.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and often the best music that I've made, or certainly the most popular tunes, um, happen quickest pretty much, or there was less thought involved in them, you know,
Yeah,
seemed more immediate somehow, everything came together. The
Y-
more I think about stuff and the more I work on it, sometimes the more I destroy it, you
mm.
know.
Yeah. Definitely in the mixing, you can just throw too much in and take the life out of a track. Uh,
Yeah,
and yeah, I've definitely had experienced it, and I know lots of people else have a bit of a fear about you do your production on a tune and it's sounding pretty good, but you're a bit scared to go and mix it because in the past
yeah,
you've destroyed some of your really good
yeah,
tracks you thought had potential, and then you just sort of leave them unfinished because you don't really want to kind of ruin that good idea.
yeah. I know, like the fear of a good idea actually. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like sometimes it's harder. It's harder the like the better the track is. Or the more promising the idea is because you're just like, I don't want to, oh, I want to do this stuff, but I don't want to ruin it, you know. Yeah. I mean, like this is what I've said to New Type in the chat. Who's a patron of mine as well. But there's no silver bullet. There's no one, or those were his words actually. But there's no one process for any part of doing this, making music that is the same every time.
Yeah.
It changes for every track you work on and at different points in your life. You know. So
Yes.
what worked last year might not work this year.
Which is yeah, because it's there's no, that's why maybe it's hard to learn it, because there's no sort of
Yeah,
linear path you can follow to make a cupboard that everyone can do and you're going to come out with a similar result.
yeah, so true, so true. It's like, and I'm sure you find this when you're filming or scripting your videos, is that like every point touches on the infinite, if you like. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, that's one way you could do it, but there's also so many other methods and techniques and theory that feeds into any one way of like doing anything creatively or in terms of music production and making music.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. It's but that's what's so great about it is 1 minute
yeah.
you're doing stuff in Serum, and then you're like, oh, let's try some frequency modulation synthesis, and then you're into granular, and then you whatever world you're in there, using Crystallizer by Sound Toys, making weird underwater noises or something, which is actually one of my favorite. The Sound Toys plugins are so good. I keep going back to them. I think I got them years ago and never really
Same.
fully understood how good they were, especially Filter Freak. The analog saturation, like all algorithms in Filter Freak, are so good.
Yeah, you turn me onto that, and I do that a lot now. Like I do a lot of filtering and shaping with Filter Freak of breaks and things like that, using the
Yeah.
pushing the gain and stuff. So that's and I also do that sizzle thing you showed me in Shimmer, Valhalla Shimmer, a lot. So
Oh, when you cut the
thanks for
lows and you
those,
just
George.
shimmer the top
Yeah,
end of
yeah,
it. Yeah, that's a good one, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. Sizzle. But yeah, the definitely sculpting stuff with like Filter Freak. And I suppose it's not necessarily how you think you would use a plugin like that. But yeah, Sound Toys are they haven't like updated significantly for like I don't know what 10 years or
I think
something.
they've made one. They made one reverb plugin, didn't they? Like a
They
plate, a
did.
super plate, and that's been about it. But they've stood the test of time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They sound quality, really quality. I love like Tremolator.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
Um. Amazing.
now we're talking
Well.
about yeah, we should listen to some music, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Um. Yeah. D16 too. Yeah. D16, the Decimal, all of those plugins are amazing as well, aren't they? They have a good
These
distortion one I haven't used yet.
what's that? D16?
Decimal.
Oh, Decimorch. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know someone else recommended I get this.
Oh, this is a great plugin. Here you go.
Yeah,
Halloween
yeah, yeah.
sale. I've put you on something
Nice one,
now.
man. There's two new plugins for less than 50 euros you've just recommended.
Yeah. I think
The
if you're,
Shaper
especially if
Box
you're trying
one.
to emulate the old samplers, or the preamp in here, Drive is really good. Yeah, New Type saying it's the bomb. This is probably has been one of my favorite plugins for a long time, and it's very affordable, which is great actually.
Yeah, new type suggested it to me as well, separately.
It's a bit like
I remember.
RX 950.
But it's much more you were doing something. Someone was doing something with it the other day. Maybe a student was showing me some stuff on it or just using it. And I was like, this looks great, actually.
It's cool because you can
Um,
control with these two filters. They're basically like the anti-aliasing filters, and so you can
mhm.
shape the way the resampling, how much of the aliasing noise is being led out above the resampling cutoff point.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, it's probably the best emulator I think I've used of all those samplers and things like that.
Hmm.
Okay, let's get into the tracks. So otherwise, we'll just end up having a chat, which would be nice actually. Maybe we
We
just
should do
go,
this
yeah,
plug-in chat. Do you know what I mean? We
yeah,
should just
plug in recommendation session.
plug in and synth chat because I'm a bit of a purist and like I don't. Oh, I say I'm a purist. I'm like I maybe I'm just tight, but like I don't. I'm always wary of getting new plugins because I'll have to learn them or I don't want them to sit unused. You know.
Yeah,
But
There's nothing
and
worse
also
than.
like, yeah, sorry.
No, I was agreeing with you. When you buy a plugin
Yeah,
and then you never use it, it's such a waste of money. It's the marketing that gets you in.
yeah. But I'm always looking for like, it's always the weird little ones that I'm interested in as well. Do you know what I mean? Like the ones that we were saying this the other day, like the strange ones that um less people have in a way. Or now I'm like really interested in things like compressors and stuff like that. You know, the more things that I never would have understood 15 years ago. You know.
Yeah, I feel if we get into compression in this session, we won't ever
Yeah,
get to the
sorry, people.
limit.
Sorry. Let's come
I
come
agree
back
that
from
yeah,
the
compressors
brink.
are they're like it's the hardest thing in music to understand, concept wise,
Hmm.
because it's you have to hear it more than understand what it's doing.
Yeah, yeah, so true. And like like how compression looks like as an explanation or an understanding in my mind is nothing like it would be if I tried to explain it to someone, if you know what I mean. Like
Yes,
I can hear it happening, but like if I had to kind of like show someone, I don't know if I could
it's really
really.
there's actually a really good compression visualizer here.
Mhm.
I think this one that I've
Nice.
used a
See,
lot to which
you
you
know all the tools, man. You're like so up on your gear.
handy though. I mean, because otherwise you're like it's so hard to show someone what's visually
Love
happening with
this. This is
compression.
great. Yeah, this is sick.
So you can see if like letting the transient through and all of that.
Yeah,
And yeah, I go to trying to teach people to do compression is even harder than understanding it yourself. I think,
yeah, for real. Yeah, so true.
especially because all compressors don't work the same. So some of
No, they
them
don't.
will like have an
Hmm.
attack, even though you've got it on 0 milliseconds. It'll be letting through a little bit of transient
Hmm.
because that's the way it's working. And when you're trying to visualize that, you can get yourself in absolutely in the weeds trying to show someone what's going on. You're like, I do know what it does, but then trying to show someone's very difficult.
When you hear a nice compressor working, it's a pleasing thing, you know, but it's only after it took like 10 years of not knowing what it was doing to get to that point, I think. You know, maybe not 10, but it took a long time for my ear to hear what it was doing,
Yeah,
really.
no, I'm the
Yeah.
same. And I used to always make music in headphones, and I could never hear it that well until I actually started using studio monitors, and then hearing compression in space rather than just in my ears made
Yeah.
a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, because like transients, your ear does a natural compression anyway. So if you're adjusting transients too much, your ear can like almost you stop hearing them. You
Yeah,
stop hearing stuff that's got loads of attack that's really like, you know, but in a speaker in a room, it's like it's a different uh, like experience.
yeah. Maybe it's just really
Yeah,
fatiguing in headphones as well.
it
Focusing in
is.
on a sound like that is it takes a lot
It
out of
is.
your ears.
Yeah,
Um,
it does. Says the man sat here in headphones. Yeah.
I learned about this tool through the official Renoise tutorial channel. It's a great way to visualize and to understand the working. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Cool.
So maybe we
I'm
start with Daniel here. And I actually like two of his songs that he sent me. I liked all of them, but I thought two would be really good for the stream. So we'll just play the first one.
okay.
And let's go from here.
Everyone hear that?
How are we doing for levels?
Enjoy the trip!
I like this paddy bit where it builds.
Yeah.
Enjoy the trip! Enjoy the trip!
Nice.
Very nice. Good work, Daniel.
Lovely work there. I loved all the little fills. Do you know what? There was so many like classic jungle tropes and tricks that were used in that tune. But it's enjoyable to hear. It was like a really fun track. Kind of exploring all the themes that like he did. I could hear there was obviously the pads and the arps he was doing. That was that time stretch bit. There was loads of the fills, like reverse hits, pitching up and down the snares and things like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I took a few notes as well. Got my trusty journal here, used for jotting down stuff like this. Yeah, I really like the kind of it was quite like a ravey, wasn't it? Quite like a hardcore type tune, like almost like pre-jungle at points, like that kind of crossing over between the two.
yeah, definitely.
I always like in like electronic stuff or any kind of where you've got like you've got like a three against four type of rhythm going on, which is can be really it's really simple. It's like three notes, but it can be really compelling and kind of with changing chords behind it. It can kind of it's a really nice musical trick that works all the time in all sorts of different music,
Yeah.
I really like that. Um, yeah, I completely agree. All the little edits and stuff were really good, and I thought the mix was nice as well. Pretty solid mix down too.
Yeah, weight was good in the low end with the bass. Was
Yeah,
well balanced.
yeah,
Had like good energy
yeah,
the whole way through, which is my
yeah.
favorite word. But it was like the arrangement was good. That it kept it interesting, and it was quite like a upbeat sort of funny. It wasn't humorous, but it was like a fun tune.
Euphoric.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of like yeah, like yeah, very like ebullient is the word that comes to, but like yeah, no, like enthusiastic and happy sounding, wasn't it? Really,
yeah, for
but
sure.
especially with that it had that it's that like this kind of bluesy piano
Yeah.
lick
So is that
going
from is
on.
that a sample from a tune that people are saying, or is it someone said what's the sample? I know but can't think of the name.
Enjoy the trip.
Yeah, enjoy the trip. Um, yeah. Oh, hello, Stecker. Welcome to
Hey,
the
Steka.
stream. I yeah, I'm sure you've been using Amigo a lot as well recently.
Yeah, yeah,
Have you
yeah,
checked out
yeah.
the new update on it?
No, I haven't. I saw the great Instagram advert and was like, I'll have to update it. Um, but yeah, it was on your free plugin video,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah, well, they've done you. I think it's got like even beat slicing, which is a really handy one, and there's a
Oh,
few.
nice. So what like set quantize bit like so you can do it by quarters and eighths and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
like chop at even intervals.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
which is really
Yeah,
handy. And then there's a few. They've got modulation options like amplitude modulation and maybe pitch modulations. So you can do vibrato and things like that in there.
cool,
Uh,
cool. Yeah,
and
I
you
think I'm gonna
can.
do.
So go on.
I'll probably do a live stream of it at some point. Just do like a little, see if make another track in it or something with the
Yeah.
new update.
Well, I was going to do one of them as well, so maybe we can join forces. Maybe that's a good idea for our next head to head is to do an Amigo challenge again.
Yeah, in 2.0.
What I feel like last time we had too many restrictions on. We were trying to do it as if we were in Octomade or something.
And I think Octomед would have probably been more powerful than the way I used it in Ableton.
You were
So
severely limited. I remember seeing what your options were because Renoise it's much easier to step edit and things like that.
yeah. Like I love the way like your tip for like adjusting the bandwidth to sculpt kind of the tonal character of breaks that you're layering. I think
Yes.
that's a really good tip with using it.
Yeah. I think that's
Uh,
the one of the other updates is there's like a live maybe the sample rate you can now adjust it
yeah,
live
it's
without it
smoother.
crackling.
Yeah, that could be cool. So you could do some like effects automation with it and stuff potentially.
Yeah, which should be really interesting. And also that turning off on and off that interpolation to let through all the aliasing is another really great trick. That's why I love that plugin is because you can see what things sound like without the anti-aliasing filters on.
Yeah, I just love how devastatingly simple it is. You know what I mean? Like, or like it's simple, but but it belies its complexity, and for the price, it's there's so much like really high end, really expensive music gear and stuff out there, and I think for like a lot of producers, it's just unaffordable. So it's really nice when you see, developers and kind of catering for a broader market like that, and not charging through the roof prices for something. So
Yeah,
that's
for
yeah.
sure. When I was trying to do that free plugin video, I was looking at any other free sampler that was out there, and the only other one was so confusing. I can't even remember who it was made by now, but it was like even I found it really confusing, and I've been making music for however long. But to step into as a beginner, like a free sampler, I know lots of your DAWs will have free samplers, but the UI is so simple in Amigo to get you running.
Yeah, and it's stylish. Like it's like you want to like it's fun and looks like it looks like an Amiga. It's cool, and it makes you stuff like that makes you want to make music, which is really important. I find it's inspiring. It's good when
Yeah,
a plugin is inspiring to use. So
yeah, because it's like a game, or it's not so intimidating that you're.
yeah. It's fun. It's fun then, isn't it? Like and
Um,
instantly easy to use, and you can change the color and resize it, like
yes,
which is another good thing. But
yeah, the color. I think you can save presets and like drag them in, so you
yeah,
can have your
yeah.
go-to sort of. Yeah, it's just a good idea, isn't it? That's why it's done so well, and you can
I
understand
wish
why
I'd thought
people
of
are
it,
so
Stacker.
for it. Anyway, big up to Amigo 2.0.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see whatever comes from you guys in the future as well.
Yeah,
So
me too.
maybe we move on to one of Alex's tracks. Should I start with New Type, just because it's top of the list?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's start with that. So, because I think new type's on as
This
well.
was the version 2. Is that the one that you wanted to play?
Yeah, that's right. That is
Okay,
right, isn't I think that is the latest, certainly the latest one I was sent. So
here we go.
Mhm. Yeah, it's great mixing as well. Bravo.
Wow.
That
Very
was
good.
sick.
Very well played. Yeah, that was excellent.
Yeah. I don't think I could fault that really.
If
Um,
someone sends you a track like this and asks for feedback, you just like go and make more music. You don't really need
yeah, I
me
was
to.
thinking
Yeah.
exactly the same thing. I was thinking exactly the fit, like just let's hear more. Um, like I love the one thing I'm always trying to do in like my tunes as well is like, sometimes when you make electronic music and you make stuff in the box, like bringing parts in it can be a real, depending on the type of like track you're trying to create, but like, where things just seem to change and you don't even notice,
Mm.
it's like seamless. It's almost like the way, some producers like John Hopkins or something does that kind of thing really well as well. This like seamless electronic textures that just sound so organic, but um so non-human as well, if you get what I mean. But like I think New Type does that kind of thing really well in this. The changing textures are very just like really well orchestrated and put together.
Yeah, the kind of sample selection, sound design, just
On
making it
point,
all
isn't
really
it?
cohesive is definitely
Yeah,
a challenging thing to do, and he executed it so well in this tune. And obviously, everyone can hear the mix in that had a really solid bass line and loads of depth to it. It was like a really large track.
yeah. It's like if anyone played me that, I just think I would, against the label tune or any other tune like that, I wouldn't notice the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You
So
could for sure slot that in a mix in a club and have it rolling and have everyone going.
yeah, for real. I've just make more music. New
Excellent
type.
from New Type there. Yeah. Well done,
Yeah,
mate.
big tune. That was really, really good. Can't wait to hear more.
Um, did you say that he's been working with someone to help him with his mixes or something? He's been collaborating
Yeah,
with someone.
yeah. I know that new type maybe want to comment on that, but just like working with like an engineer to improve his mixing and stuff like that. And that could be I've got I had a new student recently, and he's just done a mixing course with like Point Blank, for instance,
Yeah.
and I could hear the difference between his stuff that he's been working on now compared to like a year ago after doing the course. So it can be a really worthwhile thing to just like focus on your to actually like learn about mixing music or audio engineering a little bit. It can really pay dividends if you're mixing your own tunes and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You
It's a
know,
whole nother art form that
it
like
is.
and traditionally people have split them all up: the producing and the composing, the songwriting, the engineering, all
Yeah,
the instrumentalists, and now you have to do everything, which is why it's infinitely more challenging in some ways.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I love the mixing side. I love the engineering side of things. It's always fascinated me, like knobs and EQs and faders and gear that, boxes and stuff.
yeah.
And it's just another like element of the art form if you can balance and compression and EQ and yeah, you can drastically change things with a mix.
I guess it's one of those things. The better at it you get, you understand the whole process a little bit more. When you're producing,
Yeah,
it informs
yeah,
decisions later. So it is really important to
so
kind of
true,
develop your
so true.
skill. I think Fanu's actually his Patreon. He has some really good mixing tips for drum and bass and jungle producers. If anyone's
Yeah,
looking for kind of um, someone who focuses on that a lot, I know Fanu's Patreon's really good.
yeah. Shout out to Fano. His mixing tips are great, and he's like as a mastering engineer, his stuff sounds incredible.
Yeah, he does. I can't remember his name. He does some quite legit electronic house producers and stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Um, so he's not only doing drum and bass, but obviously when you can do everything when you get that good.
Yeah. But
Okay,
what are we on to next? Yeah.
we are. Yeah, we can maybe come back.
Let's
Let's go into. I saw synth philosophy in the group, so maybe I'll come back to
Yeah,
just
sounds
because
good.
he's here.
Yeah,
And I
I'd
think this was the
definitely
one
do
he
that.
wanted me to play. So let's rock and roll.
Miss Ross lives in a newly completed hillside home with her husband and two young sons. that was only the first of many cycles.
Oh, there we go. That one was a real journey. I really like the ending of it.
That was trippy towards the end.
Yeah, from maybe about 7 minutes onwards, when the pad that came in at the end with the breaks that were like right in the background there was caught a really good groove.
Yeah. I liked I kind of liked all the textures, all the like synth textures and electronic textures going on throughout. I thought there was like a real nice contrast actually as the track progressed. Yeah, it was kind of giving me Tangerine Dream vibes at points as well, like the arpeggiated lines and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was like sorry, go on.
I wonder where the sample's from at the beginning, or what that's about.
The vocal.
Yeah. Synth philosophy. I wonder what you.
He might be able to tell us.
Lives in a newly completed hillside home with her husband and 2 young sons.
It almost. I watched Substance last night. I don't know if you've seen it, but it sounds a little bit like something from there.
No, I haven't. No.
It's really freaky. I mean, it's just so gory, but it's it's quite a mad film. But the one thing about this tune I did really like is it's obviously a very like digitally focused song. Just in all the elements, but then he's managed to make them all sound quite alive, like the synth sounds and the pads and everything's still moving nicely, and it's not.
Yes.
I think sometimes everything can be a bit static when you're obviously using lots of synths and things like that, and making things sound human and like real instruments is always the biggest challenge, I think.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want that, but sometimes like you do, don't you? Like I like, especially for something that you put together, and it's quite hard. It's hard to make a 9-minute piece of music, you know. It's hard to make short music and hard to make long music, you know. Like you can kind of get in between the two quite easily, but well, not easily, but like to make something that's cohesive, that's almost 10 minutes long is good.
Yeah, and it didn't get repetitive, even though a lot of the elements were the same. It still had a nice kind of journey it took you on. And the last thing is I like those kicks. There's something really satisfying about hearing like a kick or a snare just being pitched up and down like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good tune.
Lovely stuff
good
there.
Piece,
yeah,
good piece, really. Yeah, I'd call it a piece, wouldn't you? Rather than
it's almost like a soundscape or but it was very cool. So I think Future World Machines is in the chat, so maybe we go to his next.
Let's go to Rain City, yeah.
Let's come over here.
The space where I can just be. The space where I can just be.
Nice sample.
space where I can just be. The space where I can just be.
Nice.
The space where I can just be.
I like that sample, wherever that's from.
Yeah, we've had some great tunes so far. The
Yeah,
impacts on the drop on this was so good, especially this second drop here with it has like a reverse effect which whips in to around here, has all that kind of build and create all this tension. Yeah, it's sick.
I liked so it's worth saying that when Future World Machine sent this to me, he said I found an old synthwave track I've been working on in Ableton, decided to take the main melody line and turn it into a D&B track. And I think you can kind of hear that, can't you? You can hear that like Comtrue's synth waviness to it at points. I always think synthwave and like D&B or jungle works quite well together as like the elements of combining the elements of both.
Yeah, breaks and synthwave are a match made in heaven, really.
Yeah, they are really, aren't they? Yeah, I thought the drums worked really well, and like the I've heard other Future World Machines tracks, like, and he remixed one of mine actually, but they've got this like nice melancholic chord progressions going on, which I kind of really dig. And this is another case in point. And that's you're onto a winner once you've got that, really. Once you've got kind of compelling chord progression or compelling, compelling harmony going on. So,
yeah, it was like a driving sort of rolling theme to it. But one thing I think is really important here, which with a track like this that is definitely a focus is on momentum and the rolling drums, where you're not doing too many drum fills or crazy bass fills or anything like that. Having one shot effects, just like he's done in this tune, just help to keep everything interesting. And I think I said at 105, if I can find it, there were some really nice effects where there's like a whooshing sound, and then there's a few other ones that because everything in drum and bass or like we make in the music is always quite structured. Having effects that don't really fit to any sort of phrasing or anything.
Yeah,
really
so
helps
true.
your tunes. Yeah, if I can find this little bit, maybe I can show everyone. Listen to this kind of coming up to it.
The space where I can just be.
That one,
Yeah, there's like sheens in there, and then like a wow sort of sound.
yeah. It's like I thought New Type did that as really masterfully in his tune as well. These like fills that happen once, similar things happen at similar times, but the stuff is always different. And these things that are out of time almost. You know what I mean? They don't happen like they seem to be happening off the grid in a really pleasing way.
Yeah, yeah, it's all of those things. It's doing fills that are like a one-off moment in a tune.
Yeah.
Makes it really interesting because whenever that sort of there's another fill, you don't know what you're getting. So yeah, these have been fantastic so far. Let's maybe crack on.
Yeah, we'll crack on.
And we'll go back up here to maybe James Wells. He sent me this for feedback, this song quite recently. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. And we can have a listen to it again.
Because I'm afraid of the dark. The dark. The dark.
Darkness surrounds me.
The dark. The dark.
Yeah. It's just time for Halloween.
It's giving like Resident Evil vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely gone with the theme here.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to come back, or that might be the. It's definitely kind of movie-esque, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a nice bass.
Yeah. It's what Leatherface listens to at the club.
Yeah.
It's like the nightclub in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Like, what's so interesting about this tune? All the little drum programming was sick actually. Loads of great technique on the drums. And one thing is, if people are ever struggling for inspiration for a song or just getting a theme going, this, even if you don't go for something like a Halloween theme like this and want to go somewhere else, just having, if you listen in the middle, it's basically just like an ambience, isn't it? And then drum breaks and bass for a lot of the tune, and obviously lots of effects and mixing it up, but just setting the tone of a song.
I think
it's that kind of graveyardy ambience in the background there, isn't it?
I really like the texture of the drums against the bass. Like and that's something I spend a lot of time on. Like sometimes with my tunes, it's like you can have something that's really banging and like club focused and that will sound good on the sound system, but also has a really interesting texture and feel quality to it. Do you know what I mean? Like someone like Ski Mask does that kind of thing really well, just as like a produced, like interesting texture that still sounds that really knocks. Do you know what I mean? And like I think it's kind of nodding to that kind of thing here. The especially with that ambience going on too. You know, it's kind of working with the drums and the bass.
Definitely, it's
That's
like
really
the weight of
interesting.
all the low end. The kick and the syncopation between the bass is always really important in drum and bass.
Yeah.
Um,
I think there's one thing as well that one thing that I've thought about with a tune, like I always love it when producers like do something to really mess with you. And I think sometimes people forget that like, you know, it's kind of your world to kind of flip on its head as you see fit. And that bit in the middle where that kind of vocal comes in sounds almost like Nine Inch Nails or something. Do you know what I mean? It's got that kind of vibe to it, like industrial
yes,
almost.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's really clever, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
I'm interested. Like I've actually been working with James for a long time, And his music has come on so much in the last year or two, especially in the drum realm. We've gone like all the way from using kind of loops and stuff in the beginning to now he's like furiously chopping breaks. So it's good to see actually.
Yeah, the choppage at the beginning was really nice as well, with all the like staccato bits.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
Yeah, playing with silence. I know Paradox has a trick he does to give his sounds a bit of bite, which is a sort of a tracker one, but you can cut like just the very end of samples off. So if you just selected a whole bunch of kicks and just drag them so they don't quite play out to the space towards the next note.
Yeah, I love doing that, like choking them almost.
Yes, exactly. Like just a little choke on the end. Sometimes it's almost not noticeable, but it makes them all sound a bit more aggressive sometimes.
Yeah, they really cut. They really cut, and they're like really articulate. I love that kind of drum programming. I'm here all day for that type of thing. I find it so satisfying to listen to.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a really good way to flip up. If you've got maybe more rolling style breaks and you want to do another break passage to counterpose or whatever it is, counterbalance it, then doing something a little bit more gated is a great technique.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Crow Brings the Sun. Nice title.
That wasn't actually the one I thought I was going to be playing, but I'm glad we played that one. Is there anyone else in the chat that you'd like me to play, or do we just go?
Well, we'll play DJ Fuzzy Logic.
Okay, yeah.
And we're going to go for I think the auto. Because Aviv, which one should we play? Should we play Auto Freak or Ball of Confusion? I'm just going to put this out. Also, was it David Bowie vocals?
I don't know if he's here.
It sounded similar, but I don't think it was.
I had no idea. Just set my track.
I wonder if that was to you, George.
Oh, it might be.
Okay.
Let me see if I can check my emails off.
We'll have a look.
Yeah.
Auto Freak.
He has just sent his track. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll do yours next. MTIK. Also, yeah. Let's play Auto Freak. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Auto Freak.
I turn you on. Automatic freak. I turn you on. Automatic freak. Inside your mechanism. Automatic freak. Inside your mechanism. Inside your mechanism. I turn you on. Automatic
Nice.
Very good. I
Well,
was just looking at the original.
Some dancey techno there.
Yeah. I wonder, is it Semblance Factor? Is that the artist? Or is Selway? So yeah, like Aviv said in the chat, it was like a remix competition.
Of this tune. I see. I see. I've
Yeah.
never heard the original of that.
No, me neither. Yeah, like what were your thoughts, George?
Do you know what I really liked? My favourite parts of the song were the breakdown bits were really interesting. Going to like a halftime kind of grooving
Yeah.
techno is quite unusual maybe, but it worked really well in this tune. And also he kind of flipped up. I think he did a breakdown around here with that, and then he did another variation of a similar idea.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated. I guess it's easy to be repetitive with your ideas sometimes, and it's much more challenging to try and go into new territory when you're doing breakdowns. You just want to copy that section over and not edit it too much, and it's good to do like you can tell in this he's put a lot of thought into those passages, as well as kind of the groove development, which was a little bit like syncopated, but it still kind of got you moving. It was interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was like really a really nice like techno tune. Really, you're straight in, and then the thing about like making techno or like techno generally is it's like I think to do it really well, it's like it can often be these small changes over time, or one. It's the tiny details that can really light up a techno tune. Like when a hi-hat comes in, for instance. And like it's a bit like jungle in the way you've got things happening very quickly and things happening slowly, and sometimes they only happen once. It's like these concentric orbits almost of stuff happening, and this was a demonstration of that. I think there's lots of moments like that happening.
Yeah, for sure. I watched a really interesting tutorial that just reminded me the way you're explaining that of when I was kind of learning to make music, of layering different length blocks on top of each other. So you have like 2-bar blocks repeating, and then some 4-bar blocks, and then some 8s and some 16s. And so having these different length looped sections, even though they're all looped and it's a very electronic track, there's enough that creates a lot of interest.
Yeah, for sure. And like having things that don't repeat on even, with even numbers of even number loops, if you like, things that happen after 7 bars or 23 bars or something, that can really introduce some like natural polyrhythmic variation very easily and stuff like that. So,
yeah, there's definitely like an interesting clap that came in this tune to kind of throw off the rhythm.
Someone mentioned the clap.
I thought that was working really well. Yeah.
Viv says I'm a D&B freak, but broke up with my girlfriend and Sun and Bass Festival started to produce techno. Lol.
That soured the
Okay,
drum and
right.
bass for you a little bit then.
Sorry to hear that. Sorry
Yeah,
to hear that.
damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like I love club music. I love electronic music. If it's electronic, if it's stuff that people listen to in a club or not, like I'm there really.
Yeah, there's not much I don't like. Especially
No.
hearing producers. I like hearing kind of what other people are doing. It's so interesting. Like every song we've heard today, and I'm sure the rest of them, there's such unique styles that everyone's going for.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I think that's commendable
yeah,
too.
definitely. Nothing's really reminded me of any other artists almost.
No,
Um,
it's kind of like the variety. Whenever I do these feedback streams, whenever I've done them, the variety is kind of floored me actually.
mm.
Even I kind of can't believe the music people make, to be honest. But yeah, no, really good work, Aviv.
Because we make mostly atmospheric jungle or just jungle in general, and I know you do a bit of dubstep and things like that as well, but it's mostly
Yeah,
jungle focused. But then interestingly, everyone who kind of watches us and follows
yeah.
along doesn't make jungle, but just finds it
I know,
interesting.
that's good. That's reassuring to me because I'm like, oh, maybe I can. One, I could just make anything that I like on stream and not have to worry what people think. And two, that like I just you just need to get out. You just need to get in front of people in a way, if you know what I mean. Same with you. It's like the lot of people watch stuff for all different types of reasons and like different music for all types of reasons, don't they? So
Yeah, definitely. It's maybe that'd be another fun live stream to make like a techno track against each other or something.
yeah, it's something like like the genre we'd be least happy doing or least comfortable in. Like I don't know. What
Ambient
would
would
that
be
be for
interesting.
you?
I know you do a bit of ambient stuff, but I've never gone too deep into it. But I feel like I could maybe do okay in that realm.
Ambient would be sick. Ambient would be sick to do. Yeah, because it's like a vibe. Do you know what I mean? It's like and yeah, you've just got to kind of get it down in one with ambient stuff. You could. It's not about edits, with
Uh,
ambient music. I think.
no, it's there's clever. I mean, it's lots of clever tricks you can do. I know people do amazing stuff with tape loops and
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
It's more about the
fascinates me.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. But should we move on?
yeah. Let's do it.
What?
Let's go.
How long are you thinking we'll run for, George? Just I'm conscious
Well,
of your listening
I
capabilities as
thought
well.
we'd maybe go 2 or 3 hours at most, but I guess we've got to go. I've got what have I got left? I've got two more people from me,
Cool.
and
Good.
we've got one, two, three, four from you. Oh, and I had this guy who just sent me an email, which I could play
Yeah, so
now.
maybe if we just stick to 10, and if we can't play the additional ones of mine, then I'll put them to another time. I'm
Okay.
sure the heads
Y-
won't mind that.
Yeah. Let me quickly
Um,
go. Oh, I'm going to show you. At least we're in my. That was my
just
junk
because
email.
as fun as it is, it can be fatiguing, can't it? Listening to lots of music and offering anything that's useful to people
Yes.
after a while.
You run out of things to say. It's just hard for your brain. It's definitely tiring.
Yeah. To like, because you want to provide good feedback that's useful for people, and then you don't want to just be like, yeah, loved it.
Yeah, you can't. You start really well with loads of energy, and it slowly sort of peter down.
Yeah. And then your ears do get fatigued. That's the thing with don't make music all day because your ears do get fatigued.
All those amazing, yeah, because people when you're younger, I guess you can go for longer, but definitely a lot of the pro producers only do 4 or 5 hours a day of proper
Yeah,
production stuff, and the rest of it you're just kind of managing your whatever, you're doing your emails and whatever else it is.
yeah. Business.
Business stuff, but you have to do. Yeah, I definitely I haven't really spoke about it that much on my channel or anything, but I've had hearing problems for ages, so I have to be very careful how long I kind of go for, just pounding away, just doing production sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is why I mentioned it actually to everyone else as well. That be conscious of your hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm doing okay. I can control my levels in here, and it's actually having little breaks like this. and chatting for even a minute or two before you listen again is kind of the most important thing for me, that I never used to do. I used to just sort of produce and have a loop rolling for about 4 hours and keep adding to it, whereas now just letting your ears breathe a little bit actually really helps.
Yeah.
And I know it's a
I'm
problem with
always
lots
happy
of
to
people.
chat, George. Always happy to chat.
Yeah, Synth Philosophy said, let's do some ambient together. I would love to. I would love to get into ambient more. I need to kind of get some more tricks rather than pull stretching vocals or whatever it is. That was going to be my secret weapon, to come in on with loads of long. Okay,
What we
so
on
this
now,
guy MTIK just sent me a song.
Cool.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it's got a music video to it. Should we have a look?
Sick. That's good. We're in Optimed.
Here we go.
Okay. I don't think I can hear anything.
I can't hear anything either yet, but that's because he's not playing.
Hey.
Respect everybody. I respect and I love you. See?
Nice.
Whoa.
That was good.
That was really good. There was a great little moment here. What break is this? This one in the middle? Not the Amen, the other one. This one.
I mean, I've heard that one before, but I don't know what it is. Maybe MTIK could tell us what one that is. That like step in one.
Yeah, that was cool. I love that rolling pattern when you have a pattern like that and you can just sort of keep it going and going.
Yeah, there was some nice and to actually see something actually made on a real Amiga.
Yeah, they sound cool, don't they? It's just got that sort of rough and ready.
Yeah, there was loads of texture on that. That first like sound clash vocal, first MC vocal.
It's
Let me boot the Amiga up. Yeah, that's I've heard that break. I've heard that break before. It sounds like it's a lesser used like just known one.
It's
I don't know.
definitely
Some
quite a
people haven't
well-known
really.
break, yeah, but
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it was either. I really enjoyed that. I could also hear if anyone was trying to figure out what was going on. I wonder if he did these live, but the delay trick where you change the time, you put the delay on at milliseconds, and then you change the time, and it changes the pitch of the delay. If you have like a high feedback, you can kind of catch all the delays and morph them. You could hear him
It's a
doing
kind.
loads at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could hear that too. Almost like a space echo kind of effect.
Yes, exactly like a space echo, but it's really cool
Yeah.
because it's the same. It's the same idea we were talking about earlier. When you have a delay that's generally quite in time, you can flip that up and do a cool kind of effect on it into a breakdown or something.
Yeah, that was an RE201 space echo in real time.
Oh, there you go.
Very nice. Legit.
It's got the tricks here.
Yeah. What was that break? We'll find that breakout. I wish my knowledge was more encyclopedic sometimes of the like more obscure ones, the ones that get used like
Should we
the
go have a
main
look?
ones I
Let's
don't
go have a
struggle
look
with
in
so much.
let's go have a look at the hero breaks and see if we can suss it out.
Get
This is
Iced Audio Finder out.
a collection. It will be one of these
I
somewhere.
think George is the most organized music producer in the world.
I'm obsessed with drum breaks more than anything else. I can't get enough
I
breaks.
just love
Really.
seeing your audio finder. It's incredible. It's a work of yeah.
Yeah, this is it's. I mean, I've put a lot of hours into this. You almost don't need to do because it doesn't make you a better producer, but it does give you a cool library to dive into. But this is I actually not to funnel or maybe to funnel people into my Patreon, but I gave them all these are all my hero breaks, which are basically the most popular breaks in drum and bass, which you can find anywhere, but I've just neatly organised them all from all these different
Nice.
places. You can kind of see where they all come from, which are lots of places you can find for free online. Is he going to tell us what it is? He's still booting his Amiga. Maybe we'll
The
come.
break what?
Here we go. The break was
Live, yeah, beat specific. Is it that? Is it if it's rotary connection? I just saw that. You got that there.
what this one here?
I,
But pitched up
it's a
maybe,
good one.
kind of like this. But
Yeah.
if you take
Okay, so MTI Kiss is 180 mutant break.
okay,
So
should we have
that
a look?
sounds like a second gen one to me.
I bet I'll have it. 180 _ mutant.
Mutant.
If I get it. Mutant break. See, sometimes you don't have the kind of correct. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
it's that.
Okay, I will put this break in the. I'll put a link to it in the comments of this video for anyone who wants
Nice,
it.
nice, yeah, good.
Let me
What is that though? What is that? Like unless it's come from something else, isn't it? I reckon beat specific. It could be right in that it's like it is rotary connection, but it's been beefed up.
It's actually been stripped back. It sounds a little bit as well because I had it. I could go back and have a look, but you take if I go back to life, rotary. We've gone off piste here. Rotary connection. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Live could. Yeah, so it's like this break but sped up.
With that. It's that, isn't it? That's very similar. That first bit, that's
Yeah, it's just this. It's kind of this bit looped and pitched up, isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Cool. And maybe also EQ'd a little bit differently as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like it's been processed. It sounds like it's been worked on.
Very cool. Nice. BPM. Is this break in one of your packs? It's in. Yeah. If you go Synth Philosophy, if you go on my collections, I think it will be. Or if you just type in hero breaks into Patreon, you'll be able to find all the breaks there. Cool. Let's go back into where
And people
we were.
should support you on Patreon, George, as well. I think.
Well, if you support me, I'll support you back, and then it's
yeah, should we do that? Okay, right.
yeah,
I'll
because then
support
we
you
both
and
gain something, but it doesn't really
Yeah,
cost
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
does it?
Okay.
Cool. Let's go to the Mao Kadush and see. He's sent me a FLAC. Nice. Maybe I could just
Yeah,
play.
I think.
So go on.
Nice. If you do your patrons first, just because they're on your channel, but yeah, well, whatever.
We can get through. I've got two. Oh yeah, because we're going to do your one. It's one of your turns, isn't it? That's okay. Let's go. Into
I reckon.
this.
Can we go Caligari?
Yeah,
one?
sure. If I go. Which
Just
one
above
was
a
this?
case of above DJ Fuzzy Logic.
Oh yeah, do we miss him out? Okay.
I don't think he's on, but
That's one of the latest tools they've got. I've got my way around it, I'm not going to say, but basically it's still piping it up, exactly the same, just a little modification around the top end of the jack. Nothing
Is that
too
Photech?
major, but it will be for them. That's all it takes. As soon as you know how they're getting it, there's always a way around it, you know what I mean?
Is
just
it
a
Source
case
Direct
of,
maybe?
Is
going
it?
up there, putting new aerials up, joining the aerials on, you can be back on.
No,
within
it's
No, it's not.
Pirate
hour,
Radio.
hour, with all the aerials done. Flick the switch and we're on there.
Oh, cool.
It's just a case of you know what I mean? Nothing too major. way around things, you know what I mean?
It's good, that vocal sample, isn't it?
Case of,
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, nice textures and stuff in this one again.
Yeah, you can hear he's playing with sample rate reduction and bit reduction a lot. All the crispiness that's kind of coming through.
That's the 6th sample as well that he's found at the beginning.
Yeah, the vocal sample's great in that one. I thought it was from that clip of Source Direct from when that Photech one.
Yeah. The classic one. Yeah.
When he's talking about listening to his headphones so loud,
it's like
his neighbours are telling him to shut up.
Right in your skull.
Yeah.
Like, because I know I've chatted with Caligari quite a lot, and like about producers that he's into, like, or that we both like Object and Forest Drive West, people like that. And I think it's got like a lot of his stuff has got that vibe, that kind of like UK bass breaks, Ski Mask as well. That's kind of Ski Masky sounding vibe to this too.
His breaks are really good.
Yeah, I like that second section about, halfway through where it kind of switched into it. That was cool.
I loved it. Almost this whole, it kind of got better and better as the track progressed towards the end.
Yeah.
And he just developed the ideas more and more. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, a nice contrast to, well, again, just like a showcase of the variety of stuff that people make. I think had such a broad mix.
Yeah, the only thing that brings them together really is the breaks. Is the main thing.
Break beats.
Yeah, everyone loves the break
beats.
That was dope.
That was
cool.
Dope. Yeah, very good.
Let's go into this.
Straight in.
הצעירים מוציאים את הקיטור במרתפים שבהם הם מקיימים את מסיבות החשק והמוזיקה האלטרנטיבית
Well, some crazy drum work in that. Again, it was actually a really aggressively processed amen in that. It's almost as much as you could sort of smash it out. But there's so many good tricks I can hear. Everyone obviously knows all these, probably because they watch our channels. All of these these drum tricks now, like flying out all over the place, from the like rolls and little fills and flips and everything.
Yeah, I really like the vocal sample in that. That was cool, and like the edits that were going on. And yeah, the break choppage and stuff, and like the intro was quite cool with these orchestral stabs going on. That's kind of interesting. It's great. It's good when you can. I'm sure you find this, George, that you can end up doing the same thing again and again in terms of like your choice of sound and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you hear like these people pulling in these different. I would probably never use an orchestral hit in a tune myself, but like it's interesting when you hear people, trying these new things and like or a completely different way of doing it. It's inspiring.
Yeah,
to try similar things.
Yeah, I maybe would be the same, but I guess the purpose of that hit is to like drive the main downbeat of the tune, isn't it? All the time, which is a really good trick. If your track's losing sort of impact or momentum, putting like a stab or a unique bass hit, or obviously an effect, but it's mostly in the bass, is sort of in the mid-low range, isn't it, that you want something?
Yeah, and I love hearing that. You hear that kind of thing a lot in electro and hip hop and stuff, like classic electro and
yeah, it's a huge stuff. Electro having a big stab.
I love that. I love that. I love hearing it there. Yeah, but I thought that really worked here as well, particularly with the vocal. That was cool.
Yeah. It's like it was a repeating vocal, but then the drums were keeping it interesting in the background. Another really interesting tune. Okay, and we've got, maybe we do, because I want to show Micah's as well. So if we do 2 of yours and 1 more of mine, maybe, and then that. How many have we got left? We can almost do everyone. We've got. Yeah, we'll only have 2 at the end. We'll see how we do.
Sounds good to me. I hope everyone's enjoying it.
Went into something else there.
Yeah, punishing.
That was, yeah, I mean, it's super aggressive. Someone who's really loving messing with distortion and kind of ramping everything up. But, I mean, it was driving. It was such a driving tune.
It kind of reminded me of like what you might see in like an Aphex live set or something. Do you know if you've ever seen video clips of like Aphex Twin playing live?
Yeah.
Like just kind of like really relentless kind of distorted acid stuff. But I've heard Cares submitted tunes before to me, and they're all like some of them are really like, the last one I heard was like really euphoric and compelling. A bit like, this was compelling too, but like that kind of they do that repetitive stuff that doesn't let up, if you know, like unrelenting. And this was a bit darker than the other stuff I've heard, but yeah, really like that acid line. Thought that worked really well. It sounded almost like it was a real box of some sort.
Yeah, it was very industrial. I mean, the synth design was really good sound design wise. Tunes like this work really well in a mix where you can read the crowd and then kind of play them for a certain amount of time and then create all this tension which is like kind of beating at people.
Yeah.
But it's a cool track for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a peak time tune, I reckon, that one.
Yeah. Maybe like when everyone's wavering about 5 a.m. and you just throw hammers at them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good. Really, really good. Interesting as well. Like, again, a really, really diverse mix of music. It's amazing to hear what people are making, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I love that they can obviously get value from our channels and then take this into acid and house and all
that's
these
great.
other
That's
kind of areas.
That's like the sign of good producers, isn't it? Really, people that like, because you take the knowledge applies across the board to all sorts of things. Really, whatever, it's how you apply it.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of those old jungle tricks come from hip hop, or it's debatable where they started first, in hip hop or in jungle. All the like SP 1200, sampling, the sample rate stuff where you speed up a turntable to save space, and a lot of that seems to have come from hip hop, and then jungle producers have taken that with them as well.
Yeah. No, good, nice work here.
Yeah, and let's go into this. Might lead us quite well into Micah, because he has some kind of breakcore-y style tracks.
Nice.
I liked both of these. One, I think he won a breakcore competition with one of them, which might have been this one, but I also like this other track, so I'm not quite sure which I will. Maybe we'll go this one. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mad. Future World Machine said I wouldn't have a clue how to make a track like this. I don't know what you mean. It feels like you have to use renoise to make a song like this. I don't know how people. It definitely informs the style a bit. I'm pretty sure Micah uses renoise, but I'm not 100%. But I'm pretty sure.
It sounds tracker. It sounds like a tracker.
It does, doesn't it?
I mean, you can do. If you're doing something similar in like Ableton, for instance, then I mean, you can do a lot with like follow actions and with MIDI and audio, as well as like stuff in Max for Live using like sample mashing and resequencing that way.
Yeah.
But also I think there's like, I've spoken with Ned Rush about this before. There's something about the tracker experience making a tune that it kind of lends itself to you kind of start in one place and you end up in somewhere completely different, just because of like the nature of how you make music in it.
Yeah. The one thing that's really unique about trackers, which is you can kind of hear in music like this, where there's lots of repeating notes of different chops that come in. So there's like 4 of one type of synth, and then 4 of a sample, then 4 of something else. So you're swapping to all these different instruments and things really quickly. And what you can do in trackers is you basically have your MIDI notes, and then you can just very easily change whatever the MIDI note, the instrument it's responding to. So you can test out, and no other DAW really works like that in the same way. So it kind of it definitely leans itself to making music like this. But it was such a complex song, and I love there's a few bits that I felt we were both really enjoying, especially the first drop, where you think you're like going in for a crazy journey of like Fast and Furious track breakcore stuff, and then it goes into like a halftime thing.
I like the kind of electro bass that happened as well about halfway through. It really reminded me of like Aphex Twin, like Drox. There was even a bit that sounded like the melody from Melt Face 6. I had to check the title of that, but it's like where it's like da 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 da. I think that's the tune, or it could be another one off that album. I think I've misremembered it, but yeah, like there's like a little touch of the melody from that tune. I can't remember which one it is. Yeah, really expert programming though, and emotive still at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just programming for programming's sake.
Yeah, it was a journey through lots of different sort of styles, and it's just it's so interesting when people make music kind of like this. There was another bit at the end as well when he was using scratching really cleverly. I'm sure it was a sample of scratching, but it was being morphed with some vocal chops, and it was lots of good technique in this song.
Yeah.
What's the tempo? I don't know what the tempo is. Is
about 200 BPM or something.
About 200,
That very fast.
Yeah, it's super quick, but it's all. I always find it such a relief to my ears when you have a bit of a breakdown or a halftime bit in a track like this. I think it really makes it. It gives you a good art.
The beauty of like a break working with a breakcore sound or something is that you can play with these two tempos. You can play with 100 BPM, you can play with 200 BPM.
Yeah,
and it kind of works.
Yeah, it works almost better than it does in jungle. Like in drum and bass, you can go from a 2-step to like a half-step beat, but sometimes going from jungle to a half-step doesn't work quite as well.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like hip-hop speed, half of jungle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty much.
So yeah, these have been amazing. Let's go into. Did we have?
Do you reckon one more, George?
Yeah, I'm happy to do. I mean, I don't mind listening to your last couple if you want to, if you've got time. But if you've got to rush off, then we could do one more.
Maybe if we just finish with the Salu one, and then the other two.
We can save for next time, maybe.
Yeah. I can always line them up for. Yeah, we'll save them for next time. So
yeah. Okay, perfect. Let's give it a go.
Yeah, very nice that one.
Yeah, that was a strong one to finish on. I love the
Yeah.
little those bass wobs that come in the second half there. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're so satisfying, aren't they?
Yeah.
But there's
But
sometimes they're
really
so
good.
technical to make things like that. You have to spend ages to
Yeah.
get the right movement with them.
Yeah. Like that's the process really with stuff like that, isn't it? I guess like with bass sound design like that. Just before we started, actually, I was like messing around. I was doing exactly that, just kind of making bass patches, making bass wobs and stuff.
Do
Um,
you resample when you do work like that?
yeah, yeah, I do. Like, so I'll often like just start with a load of program a variety of patches with different timbres, and sometimes it would just be like an element of the sound that I know that I'll pull out in resampling. Do you know what I mean? So it might just be the fate, like the what might be that, or it might
Yeah.
be some at the end of it or something. I'll cut it up. Um, but yeah, a lot of the time I do just resample them.
Just because it's so hard to do that with a filter, modulating it or automating it is always so fiddly and technical.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I always find, yeah, I'm always raving about resampling as the best way to kind of get sounds like that from a bass is with a filter
yeah,
cutoff, just or your amp or whatever it is. Um, even if you haven't got a
yeah.
MIDI controller, just doing it with your mouse, you can usually get really good results.
Yeah. And I think like um this was case in point. I really like the kind of the kind of broken beat start, and then it kind of went into a 4/4 thing. That was cool.
Yeah, it was a really interesting groove, wasn't it?
Yeah,
The
and like
percussion.
Salah is a student of mine, or does one to well, we've done a 1-to-1, and he was saying that like he felt it's interesting for people maybe to hear this, but like all he started his stuff the same way every time. Like, I tend to start with a pad, or like I'll have a drum groove and I'll go for pads and stuff. And I think his sound is like really good for that. If you get it was quite emotive and like
Yeah.
atmospheric. And I was like, well, there's nothing wrong with doing that, even if you do, because a lot of people struggle with things that you find easy, other people struggle with sometimes,
Yeah, had a
Um,
good. The pad was really nice. Like the sound design or the tone of it was great, and actually the mix. I liked how he had the vocal kind of right up front, and then the pad was sat a little bit back in the mix, and then
yeah,
you actually get quite a good amount of space that way, because it's
yeah,
almost always the biggest problem I've found is if you have a pad that's too loud in the mix, even though it's giving a lot of energy to the track, it suddenly becomes so hard to get your drums to sit in the right place if your pad's taking up loads of room in the mid range and then get your
yeah,
bass as well.
for sure. Because that's like where all the character and that's where all the detail is in the drums, isn't it? Really, it's where all
Yeah.
the detail in everything is. Actually, you know,
It's like 200 hertz to 500 hertz is the
yeah,
hardest bit to kind of get right in your tune because things sound good in there, and your pad soloed will sound way better with that frequency left in, but it won't sound as good in your mix. So you have to sort of
yeah.
sacrifice. Um,
Yeah, it's where the depth and the warmth and the body is really, isn't it?
yeah,
That kind of region.
yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, that
Um,
was really good.
yeah, amazing. They were all the tracks were so good that people submitted. That was such an interesting experience to listen to them all.
Yeah, I'm just at like Michael McKenna was in the chat, and I know that he submitted one, but um, Michael, I hope you won't mind if we save that to next time. I just think I'll give better feedback after a refresh.
Yeah, we're a little
Yeah,
bit drained from um,
yeah.
the
Drained
session.
from listening to all the bangers, and all the good tunes.
Well, we did 2.5 hours. It's pretty good actually.
That's good for a feedback session, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think it's harder
Yeah.
to sometimes when I do my recordings, especially if I'm having a bad day and I'm having to repeat sections a lot and kind of read off a script. I sometimes they go on for about 2 or 3 hours and you're so drained by the end of it, just kind of thinking like
Yeah.
that.
Shooting YouTube videos is the most draining. It's so requires so much energy. doesn't it?
Yeah, it really, especially the bits that you're trying to be concise with and not ramble.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Or if you sometimes you catch yourself saying kinda too much or like too much, and then you're like, oh no, this whole video is going to be me sounding like an idiot. You go back and
Yeah.
re-record things. It's just the curse of trying to the better you kind of try and make yourself, the harder it gets.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I find like you've got a few. It's like recording music, or like if you're tracking like guitar or something, you've got a finite run. You've got like it's like an exponential curve downwards, really. The first takes are your best, or like you kind of warm up, and then after that it's just diminishing returns. And it's the same with like any kind of creative exercise. I think you've got a finite window where you can nail it. And either you're going to nail it then or you won't. You just have to leave it and come back to it.
Yeah.
It's the same with like any creative endeavor, YouTube, making YouTube stuff included.
Oh, absolutely. And that's my biggest the biggest thing about Ableton that it has over Renoise is that capture recording thing that Logic has it as well. But Renoise doesn't have that thing. When you just start jamming on a track and then you can just, even if you haven't pressed record, you can take the recording.
Yeah.
That thing, it's exactly that often your first time you do something is the best take you have, but in Renoise it's really hard to capture that first take, and I find myself really wishing it had a function like that,
like Ableton's capture. It's really cool. I use that all the time. I just like da da da, and then it's like it's done.
It's amazing. Yeah Have you seen the Ableton Move? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I spoke about this. So like I've like again, I think it's like it looks like a really cool tool. I didn't dive too deep into like what it does. I know it's like completely standalone, which looks cool. I think I thought it was quite expensive for what it is.
Well, how much is it? I haven't even looked.
Like £400 or something, I'm pretty sure.
And what's the push? Like 900 or something?
Something like that. I said that, or I thought that, like, it's one of these. It's like I think in their marketing, sometimes that Ableton pitches this to a certain demographic, and I just felt like I don't know how people, especially today at the moment, like the world as it is, like how not everyone has the disposable cash to just like shell out for these controllers all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not to knock it or like what Ableton's doing or anything like that. But I sometimes think they're really quite expensive when you can do everything on like a 200 quid Windows notebook. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. If you're trying to get started.
And often like it's fun to have a like little box and something you can play with and everything, but like you can do everything with just a laptop, really.
And a MIDI keyboard, I would say, is something.
Yeah.
I've got the Arturia one, the Keystep 37, which is the best investment I made. It's so solid.
I mean, like I love the look of all that stuff like that, but like it's like the danger with gear is just you've got to learn how to use it, and like you use it a couple of times and then you don't use it again. So
it's a double-edged sword. It's definitely a lot of people. I think a lot of gear. I mean, people like gas. You get this idea in your head. You need this thing, and then you don't need it. But sometimes it is inspiring to get new equipment and just fun. There's lots of reasons why people do it that aren't negative, but then there's a lot of traps in there as well. So it's hard to know. I think sometimes you just you think that's going to be the magic thing that's going to help you, and it never is. But some things do inspire you. I definitely felt when I did my Photech series, and I spent so many hours kind of researching and editing about him that I was like, I have to get an Emu now. I can't go the rest of my life and not know how it sounds like or all the tricks he was doing.
I think that's like more valid in a way, like getting an Emu, because like not everyone has those. It's kind of like the mass move when everyone goes to get the same device. Do you know what I mean? And like like I'm by no means knocking it, and like I'm like you try all the equipment you can, every way of making music you can, and like whatever works for you, that is the way to do it. And like try all the gear you can, buy all the stuff you can afford if you're into it. And like I'd never like say to anyone, music production is a completely personal journey, and it's just about making good informed choices, isn't it? About what you want to add to your creative process. Like I don't mean to be like a downer about it. It's
No,
definitely not
no,
what
no.
but I would definitely rather have an emu over a move.
Yes, I would. I agree.
I don't have an emu, but like I think so yeah, like but it looks cool. It looks really cool, and I would definitely try one. I know our colleges has made a couple of cool little things on it, which is wicked.
Yeah, he makes great tunes. Every song I listen from him at the moment is a banger on his channel.
Vibe.
Every 3 days is like another amazing album he's releasing. I can't believe
I know. His artwork as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to our colleges, yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's a good point to kind of finish the stream. Is anyone saying anything?
Yeah.
The movie is amazingly fun. I've done a track solely on that, and I nearly submitted it today, but got to twiddle with it more for next time. The capture button is amazing. Oh, so it's got a capture button on the move. That's
pretty
kind of
cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. I definitely like. I say this, and then I'd probably, if I had one, I'd probably just be like, it's the best thing ever, and that everyone should have one. Just don't listen. Don't listen to me. Yeah, I'd like to thank you, George, for hosting this and doing this here.
No, it's been great. I've
much.
really enjoyed it, listening to everyone's music. We'll definitely do another one in the future.
Yeah, be good. Like, they're always really popular. People love the opportunity to get feedback on the tunes. It's really nice, like for people to hang in the chat as well, and just like I find that everyone's really supportive and encouraging, which is good. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. I recognise all the names of the people almost that, or even of the tracks that you've submitted.
Yeah.
I feel they're all the same kind of community that I talk to on YouTube and everywhere.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
One more. Yeah.
So the next thing we're going to do is potentially in November or December.
Why don't we try? Yeah, like we were going to do a head-to-head.
Yeah,
let's do it.
We're going to do another Amigo off.
Yeah, let's do an Amigo off.
But with no restrictions other than it has to be Amigo only.
Anything goes, no holds barred.
No, any tricks you can.
You got to use him. Yeah.
But I might do it in Logic this time, I was thinking.
Nice.
Only because I've done so much in Renoise, and I quite like working in Logic as well. So maybe I'll see if I can keep up with you.
Yeah, that sounds well. You do anyway.
Yeah, I think you're much quicker at getting fleshing your ideas out. You definitely have a lot more practice of like making songs in that kind of time frame. And getting like a really good finished product. Whereas I always feel I'm the last half an hour is when I get going, and then it's sort of it's all over too quickly. Maybe
Logic lends itself to that a bit more because it is linear. It can be easy you can see 4 minutes easier in a linear fashion than on Tracker.
Yeah, you can definitely arrange a little bit easier in those programs than in Renoise.
Yeah, that'd be really nice to see do it in that. Yeah.
So that'd be really fun. So you guys can catch us then. And cool. Thanks you everyone for checking in. And for
thanks,
I hope you all enjoy the stream.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming. Yeah. Okay, perfect. See you everyone.
See you everyone. Take care. Cheers. Big ups.
Okay.